Natasha. Well, Autumn Stringham is back with us and her husband Dana this time as well. Nice to meet you, Dana, because we're talking about depression and mental illness, which is, don't you agree, subjects that most people just want to cover up and put under the rug?
Especially if it's about you. Yeah, it's the last thing you want to talk about usually.
Okay, and Dana, you guys have been married for, what, 16 years now?
16 years, yeah.
You said, and when you first met Autumn, I mean, she'd been going through these issues. How did you cope with that?
Well, it was really tough, you know, and that's the whole problem with mental illness. It affects, I mean, it not just affects the person who's suffering with it, but it affects the person who loves that person and all their family and stuff like that. And, you know, when I first met her, obviously I met her, I think, when she was having a really good time, a really good mood in her life. And, you know, she's beautiful and vibrant like she is today. And then being so young and not really knowing about bipolar disorder and these other things, when the mood swings started to happen, I just didn't really understand it, didn't really know what was going on. And so, you know, you just kind of deal with it, right?
Yeah, but Dana, you hung in there.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of really, in reading your book, and again, we should mention that Autumn's written this great book called A Promise of Hope, where you talk about really some of the very darkest days that anybody can go through in dealing with depression or bipolar or anything like that. And you hung in there. What made you do that?
You know, lots of people ask me that question, and I don't really have an easy answer for it. I think it's just, you know, we all have tough things in life sometimes. And I made a commitment to her when we married her, and it was like, you know, we're gonna make it through this somehow. I never really knew how.
You were 18 and 22 when you got married. That's amazing.
It is exceptional.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's just that, you know, you deal with the hand you play with the hand you're dealt with, right? Type of a thing. And really, that's how I looked at it. But also, I really realized or really hoped that there were going to be something better for us in the future.
Okay, well,
like,
you mentioned.
I really believed that, and that somehow it was going to get better. I didn't know how, but you know.
Well, we sort of know how that happened now. And Autumn, we touched on this earlier. You were on medication, sort of the regular pharmaceutical medications, a lot, which you said pretty much sedated you.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what I needed at the time. It was a good thing until we found a better answer.
Okay, and tell us again about that. That was your dad who came up with that.
Right, yeah. My dad ends up talking to a pig feed formulator in southern Alberta. It's casual conversation in a church hallway. And he describes my illness and my brother's illness, and the guy makes a comparison between my brother's rages and that of and a pig with ear and tail biting syndrome. They came up with this crazy idea, and it worked. They put together a recipe of human-grade stuff based on this guy's pig feed formula, basically.
We're talking vitamins, minerals,
antioxidants,
amino acids.
And your dad knew nothing about this, but all he knew was that he had watched his wife suffer, he had watched his children suffer, and he didn't want to do this anymore.
Grandpa commits suicide, wife commits suicide, daughter is in the psych ward, certified, on a suicide watch, and son is violently ill.
Right.
What are you going to do? Someone gives you some weird answer, you're going to go with it. And that's, you know, that's the danger of being desperate, too, because it can go either way.
But when he brought this to you, this idea, and did you say, okay, Dad, I'll try it?
No, I fought him.
Yeah.
Oh, it just seemed like a ridiculous idea, and my psychiatrist thought it was a ridiculous idea.
I thought it was a ridiculous idea. Absolutely.
So you did not back her up?
Oh, no, not at all. I was quite angry. In fact, if she hadn't been separated from me, she probably would have never done it.
I was in my dad's care for the week because he was working midnight shift.
Okay.
So we weren't separated.
Separated as in 5 hours away.
I like the way she corrected you there with that one.
Yes, we've never been separated.
I just finished going, wow, you really hung in there, and then all of a sudden you were separated. But, okay, so you're in your dad's care for a week, and you take these vitamins and minerals, and then what happened?
I stopped hallucinating on the second or third day. I had this weird symptom. I would have a hole that would open up in my chest, and just super vulnerable, just during the height of mania. And I was rapid cycling at that point, so it was up and down all day long.
Okay, so that stopped. So you talk about a good story for you. Great, it worked for you and your brother. What happened, though? You ran up against Health Canada in terms of trying to get this out there, right? What happened
after the initial research was done at the University of Calgary, and Alberta had given $500,000 funding for this, they published the baby study, just a really small study, and as soon as it was published, Health Canada determined that this was an illegal drug. It was an illegal treatment for mental illness because all treatments for mental illness need to be regulated as drugs, even if they're just vitamins and minerals.
Okay.
And so they tried to have it pulled from the market, and of course that wasn't an option for me or for the 3,000 Canadians that were using it at the time.
So as many as 3,000 people had started on this combination
back in 2003
that your dad had sort of come up with.
Yeah.
With good results?
Yeah, great results for a lot of people.
Oh, so you had to go and you had to testify. There were hearings. And what happened?
Well, Dr. Popper came and testified from Harvard, and ultimately they won the case, and now the whole story is on public record.
Right.
And
And so what happens now with this kind of treatment then? I mean, how does it work? Where do people get it from? And does it work for everybody, or what are the limitations?
It doesn't work for everybody. I mean, the initial studies that they have show 80% of the people who try it have a positive initial response. But there's a lot of complications when you start adding medications and having to make transitions. It's not that simple. And Dr. Popper warns people to be very careful about making that choice.
Right.
And I really think that people need to make it a very careful decision if they decide to do something like that. It is available. People can have it.
But people are always looking for the magic something, right? But when you're dealing with mental illness, maybe people need to remember there is no
such thing.
Magic
really.
something.
No.
Right.
But if you find something that allows you to be clear-headed enough to start making some choices in lifestyle and choices in behavior, that's a really great place to start.
Dana, how good is the family life now?
Oh man, it is absolutely incredible. It's what I always dreamed of, or what we dreamed of together, really. I mean, first got married, we talked about having kids and all these things, and it is that today. I mean, it's amazing. We have 3 beautiful girls that we never thought we'd have. Honestly, we never did.
Right.
And so to have that now, and I mean, we have to give back. You know, you feel like we have to get this out. We have to talk about things, right?
And you're talking about it tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, tonight at St. Mark's Anglican Church. We're going to be there at 7:30. It's free admission, and it's sponsored by the Book Warehouse.
Okay, and this is tonight to talk about the book and your experience.
Yeah, tell our whole story and talk about stigma and making a dent in it somehow.
Okay. Well, listen, good for you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, guys, and telling your story. It is 9:25. You're watching BT on this Tuesday morning.